Dun, dun. This is a temple of Zeus. Wow. This entire column has crumbled. We're at the ancient Agora of Athens.
Remember, the word Agora means market. It's the ancient marketplace. But in reality, it's much more than a marketplace. It's where we say it's the birthplace of democracy. All those philosophers you learned about in school, Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, that's where they would go, to the ancient Agora, walk around and have their students follow them. Like you guys follow me all day. And teach them. It's where men were able to voice their opinion for the first time. It's where voting took place. Not everybody could vote, 10% of the males, but it's where voting took place. So it's a very important place, not just for Greek history, but for democracy worldwide.
Wow. That's where we just came from. And look at that view of the Acropolis. And this is the temple of Hephaestus. It's the best preserved temple in Greece.
That's called the Temple of Hephaestus. Hephaestus is the god of armor and fire, and that temple is dedicated to him, and it's the most original and intact temple we have. A Greek man, his name was Evangelos. He was very rich from the shipping industry. He had this dream to recreate the Olympic Games. And with the help of his cousin, Konstantinos Zappeion, that's exactly what they did. And one of the first things they did was build this building here. This is called the Zappeion, and it was built to support the first modern Olympic Games. Now, Evangelos Zappeion actually died before the first modern Olympic Games took place. He was sick, he knew he was gonna die. So he told his cousin, when I die, I want you to bury me inside of this building. But his cousin said, sorry, we don't have enough space. They actually didn't get along, that's why they said that. His cousin ended up cutting off Evangelos Zappeion's head and sticking it inside of a wall in here. There's a plaque with 4 doorknobs, and in Greek it says, here lies Evangelos Zappeion's head. This is called Panathenaic Stadium. We also call it Kali Marmaro. Kali means good, Marmaro means marble. It translates to beautiful marble. The entire stadium is made out of marble, and it's the only stadium in the world to be entirely made out of marble. In 2004, when the Olympics were here in Athens, this stadium was used. Archery was held in here, and it was also the finish line of the marathon. If you guys want to run it, it's in the beginning of November. Now, where does the name marathon come from? Does anybody know? From the town. Yeah. And the distance? But where does the distance come from? From Marathon to this stadium. So we have the marathon named after the town in the Battle of Marathona, and the distance that the messenger ran from Marathona to this stadium here to report the victory of the Athenians. So in the beginning of November, all the marathon runners start in Marathona and they finish here in this stadium. So it's called the authentic marathon. There's also a podium. You can find some leaves, make a little wreath around your head, stand on the podium, take a nice picture, pretend you won an event. His name is Yorgos Karaiskakis, and he was the general during the Greek War of Independence. The horse tells us what happened to the general on the horse. So if the horse's 2 front legs are up, the general died in the battle. If the 2 legs are down, the general lived. If 1 leg is up and 1 leg is down, the general got injured in the battle and died later on from his injuries. If the horse's tail is down, the general won the battle. If the horse's tail is up, the general lost. So these soldiers stand guard. There's some soldiers standing guard 24 hours a day. So each soldier stands guard for 1 hour at a time. So every hour there's a changing of the guards. Their uniforms with the skirt is the same uniform that they wore during the Greek War of Independence. This is their winter uniform. It's navy blue and made out of wool. And the summer they wear a lighter beige color. Also, their shoes are called tsochara, and they weigh 1.5 kilos or 4 pounds each shoe. So the pom-pom was used to hide weapons such as knives during the war. Underneath their shoe are 60 nails. The nails because they're mountain soldiers and they needed to be able to dig into the ground. And a horseshoe. The horseshoe so they sound like a horse. So I know it seems strange. They represent dead soldiers. They sound like horses. But like I said, this is the highest honor you can have in the Greek military. We respect these men so much. Their families come here, they see them serving, they start crying. And these men are very honored to represent their country this way. So just know it's a tradition we've had here since King Otto. And for us, it's normal. I've seen them my entire life, and I didn't realize that this was strange. Once you turn 18, you have 2 weeks to report to the military. If you don't, you actually go to jail. You can postpone going to the military if you go to university first. Holy moly, I haven't seen anything like that. In my opinion, a good example of trying to be a modern city, but still trying to preserve our historic buildings. This church is a historic church and it cannot be knocked down. It's built on top of an ancient temple dedicated to Hercules, and it's called the Church of the Holy Power. These smaller churches here are more geared towards certain people. This one here is for pregnant women. So this church here is called the Metropolitan Cathedral. It's the biggest church we have here in Athens. It was built by King Otto in 1842. You might look at it and be like, 1842, you're crazy. It looks new, right? It has actually been rebuilt 3 times, which means it has been knocked down 3 times. The last time it was knocked down was in 1999. We had a massive earthquake here in Athens and this church actually fell. And it took 15 years for them to rebuild it, so that's why it looks new. We had a joke that we would never see what the church looks like because it was always covered in construction. The smaller church there, that's called the Church of Eleftheria. Eleftheria means freedom. It's over 800 years old and nothing has happened to it. Why is that? The Greeks are very superstitious. In order to build the big church, King Otto knocked down 70 temples to use the marble to build this church. The smaller church was built using marble from temples that were already knocked down. So the Greeks believed that the bigger church was cursed. So when they finished rebuilding it the last time, they removed all of the original marble, and now supposedly the curse has been lifted. So we'll see.
Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you.
This here is one of his contributions. This is called Hadrian's Library. Now you must use your imagination a little bit. The library was from that wall over there until that wall down there. And around the edges were small rooms that had scrolls and were also used as reading rooms. Down on the right-hand side were bigger rooms like auditoriums that were used as lecture halls. In the middle was a small courtyard, and the remains that you see in the middle are from churches during the Byzantine Empire. So as you can see, not a lot of Hadrian's library is still here. This is another one of the sites that the Herculeans ruined. Also, now we have fencing around our sites, but that was not always the case. So anybody could come here and take marble wherever they wanted. We find a lot of shipwrecks all the time that we find marble in them, and we try to figure out where in Greece they came from. Here in Athens, we have a lot of rooftop bars, and they're actually pretty amazing to go to. So the 2 most popular ones, one is called A for Athens. You see all the people sitting on the top where the heaters. So now before Athens was called Athens, there was a battle between Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and Poseidon, the god of the ocean, over who would become protector of the city. The people decided whoever gave him the best gift would become protector of the city. So Poseidon went first, took his trident, stuck it in the ground, and out came water. But the water was salt water, so it was useless. Next was Athena's turn. She took her spear, stuck it in the ground, and out came an olive tree. And from the olive tree, we have olive oil, olives, wood to build your house, and wood to burn fire. So Athena was declared the winner of the battle, and that's why it's called Athens, and not Poseidonia. It's also why you might see in entire souvenir shops, everything made out of olive wood, or like olive oil soap. It's all for the gift that Athena gave to the Athenians.
My feet is dying. The view of the Acropolis from the museum. Oh my gosh, the Acropolis closes at 6 or 5:45 and it's already 5:15 and we have to climb up and it takes 15 minutes to just get up there. But we don't really have another time to come back. So, oh my god, my feet! Theater. made it. There's the Parthenon.
It takes 15 minutes.
It was less than 15 minutes.
We had a war with the Venetians, and the Ottomans were storing gunpowder in the Parthenon, and a cannon went up there and exploded, and it caused a lot of damage. So it's been damaged a lot of times, not from earthquakes, but from humans, okay?
This is where Athena dropped the rock. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting to see one. I probably passed one, but I didn't know. But this is your legendary olive tree. Thanks for all your olives and olive oil. Thanks for your production. Alright, we're getting kicked out. It's been great. Okay, so we just finished our tour. Back there. We're still back there. Oh my gosh, that was so good. It was called Free Athens Tour. Free Athens walking tour. Do it. Our tour guide was so knowledgeable. She's from the US, and then she's been like going back and forth from the US to Greece, and she lived in Boston, and then but yeah, anyways, it was so like, okay, so I'm not very knowledgeable about Greek history and all the mythology stuff, but then when she was talking about it, it was just so interesting. It was a good mixture of like historical stuff and then modern facts and just like fun facts. And I was so interested the whole time. The tour was 3 hours and like 3.5 hours so almost. Fast, yeah, time went by so fast. And she gave us so much good tips about like where to eat,
like the bus to the airport.
The buses, yeah, so much useful tips too. That's so nice. Okay, definitely go do it. I'll put the link below where you can buy tickets and her name.